Mr. Eggplant presents...
Hey guys, Tyler here, and thanks for checking out another one of my Mythic Plus videos. So as you can see by the title of the video, we are headed into Shrine of the Storm 10, which is one of my least favorite dungeons, just because the dungeon is very unforgiving. We actually do not time this one, unfortunately. We did miss it by quite a bit. We still had some people that were not necessarily familiar with all the fights. Although we still did complete it, and it was still a good time, and I get a certain trinket at the end. I've been really getting lucky with some high quality trinkets. I do get the Gale Caller's Boon. I got the 370 version, no Warforged, no socket, nothing like that, but I will be throwing that into the rotation with my 375 dice that I got from Harlan in Freehold. So as we get started here, I just want to give you guys a rundown of the dungeon and of the comp we're running. So I believe we're running the exact same comp, because this video was recorded at the same time, as my King's Rest 9. So if you guys haven't checked that video out, definitely check that out. It was in the same playlist as this one. It'll probably be the one just below it, actually, if I remember how YouTube does it right. And we are running with JB on his Resto Druid. We have Cinderai on his Demon Hunter tank. It's Havoc, I guess. No, Vengeance. It's Vengeance. There we go. I don't play a lot of Demon Hunter. You'd think I'd be more familiar with Hunters. But we have our Rogue. Still don't know. Pretty sure he's sub. And then we have a Unholy Death Knight. And of course me on my Marksman Hunter. And the affixes this week are again the same as the King's Rest plus Infested, since it is a plus 10. So we have Volcanic, we have Teeming, we have Infested, and then we have Tyrannical. So I'm assuming if you're checking out a plus 10 video, you already know what they do. You know, volcanoes is for volcanic, those things you just saw me dodge. Hopefully I don't eat nearly as many of them as I normally would. And we have bosses have more health, do more damage, and Infested, the Infested spawns of Cahoon on random mobs in here that change from week to week. And then Teeming just means there is a crap ton more guys. So unfortunately, like I said, we do not time this, but it is still a really good video. We make some noob mistakes. I make some mistakes. But you know what? I think mistakes are great as long as you learn from them. And it was an overall good run. We got our plus 10 in for the week. I wanted to make sure not to pull that pack over there, which we went ahead and did anyway. And yeah, so let's just get right to the video now that I've done all my talking at the beginning. So we are still in here working on some of the trash. Some of this trash here is really annoying. It's not as annoying as this stuff after the second boss, the pair of bosses there. But we focus down the infest ones first, because obviously they heal anything around it, so you always want to either CC it away or go ahead and kill it first, and which we did. We didn't have nearly as much problems with infesteds reinfesting other mobs. We do, like I said, we do have a few problems with it, but not nearly as bad as maybe some of our previous videos, which I said I wasn't going to get hit by stuff, and I just did. I'm not looking good there. But as for my Hunter, we are item level 376. I think it's 376 here. I did manage to have a full flask, unlike my last run with the King's Rest plus 9, which we did. Actually, we did that one after this one, so maybe that's the reason we were rusty. Is that just like there, we just CC'd the same target. But on this one, this pull is really annoying just because the living current picks you up and throws you down. And we want to make sure and keep the wash away interrupted on the attendant as much as possible, as I'm continuing to work on the living current there. And I wouldn't say I'm necessarily trying to kill it first, but I am cleaving off of it. It has the most health, which made my cleaving really easy. And what I should have done here was actually used my my True Shot. I didn't use it initially, and if you're going to use it on this pack, make sure you use it right after he throws you down, so you don't waste any of it. But I had mentioned in my King's Rest that I had a little bit of an issue with that, where I'm still not using it on cooldown like I should, except of course if you're getting close to a boss. So like if we were going right to the boss right after this, or like let's say it's dead and I pop it now, I wouldn't want to do that because it wouldn't be ready for the boss. But however, it would have made this pull so much easier for me to do a lot more damage. And as you can see there, where the other guys had used their big cooldowns, I had not. I'm still doing decent damage, but I should be doing a heck of a lot more, especially as being a marksman hunter, where marksman's doing pretty well on the damage meters. And I know I had mentioned in my other video as well that I will be changing damage meters. I know that Semi, he had instructed me to don't use SCADA either, so I won't probably be using that. I'll be downloading the new one, and so be looking for that in coming videos, especially in Season 2 of BFA Mythic Plus. Excuse me.
Yeah, don't get aggro.
So here we're just making sure we do not pull the Spiritualist. So you can either trap that, you just basically need to CC that, then you can work on killing the droplets here before the boss spawns. And we're getting the little role play for this boss out of the way here. As you can see, got some really good DPS on that trash that doesn't matter. Nice job, Tyler. So on this is a boss where I would have my Lust pet out / Leech pet. They are the same thing. Just because you want to Lust on this boss, especially because they're so long in between pulls. And hey Tyler, you just got hit by that because you weren't paying any attention. So this is the fight where I believe I die. I do not die to bosses often, and I've never had a problem with the Surging Rush, which he's about to do. I actually die whenever he splits. For some reason, I can't defend dying to it. That is just unacceptable. And normally, like I said, that's not something that happens to me. But I suppose maybe mistakes happen, and have to get around it and get over it. So we'll go ahead and continue to work on this guy. The one nice thing, obviously you don't want to get hit by that Surging Rush or any of the crap on the ground, is that if he picks you to root you in place, all you have to do is use your disengage, assuming you're running with the correct ability in your talent tree.
Which guy do we go for?
And so I don't think I get hit on this rush, but I definitely get hit on the next one.
He has a skull on it.
So we want to make sure, and I know JB is going to say it here, you do not want to do AoE things when you're attacking this Aqualing, and this is where he's going to rush at me. See, I, for whatever reason, did not think he was coming this way. I thought he was heading towards about the middle of where they are now. So luckily, JB was right on the ball there and got me up, no problem. That way we can take the rest of these guys down and complete the boss fight. Have to pull out my pet again, unfortunately. But see those grasping tentacles there, if you are a marksman hunter and running with, I don't remember what the talent is, forgive me, but it just allows you to get out of the root, which it is. And when in doubt, I always will just go ahead and pop my defensives. I took some unneeded damage there. This was just a bad pull for me. I've never had problems with this. But we want to make sure and not pull anything with pets either. So you guys won't be able to hear me say that. But I actually say, pull your pet back. Don't let your pets go up there because they will pull trash. And I believe the trash does get pulled as we are getting ready to end this here. So I got the choking brine on me, so I want to make sure and just stay away, that way it doesn't. And there he goes. He's going to rush over there, and then you'll see me put my pet on passive because you do not see the pets are up there. The pets can pull. So my pet's safe right now, but I actually just told the guy, hey, pull your pet back, which I'm talking to the demon hunter, or not the demon hunter, the Death Knight, and unfortunately, here they come. It's the one downfall to that trash being there and not killing it. It's a really annoying trash, and this is probably some part I should have cut out of the video, just because it's not a lot going on. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it here, and then we will pick up, because this lasts a good like a minute or so. Alright, so as you guys can see by the timer there, we had definitely taken a lot longer than we should have. But the one nice thing, we were able to just move it all, kill it all, and then I popped my big cooldowns on this stuff just because there was a lot of stuff there, and we had it infested, but the Hedis guy here, the wind speaker, had so much health in comparison to everything else, just died, and I killed it through the heals. As you can see, they're doing like 45 to 50% of the group's total damage. Like, I know that's in recount, so maybe it's off a bit, but you know, I was able to kill it through the heal, which was nice. So we'll finish up with this boss, or this. I guess you can call it kind of like a mini boss. I know it's not, but I do like that with BFA where they have changed it to where like I guess they did it in Legion a bit too, where like the trash leading up to the boss has boss mechanics. That way you can kind of know what to expect. No, I haven't talked a ton about Marksman Hunter while we've been doing these. However, you know, we're to the point now where I feel like, you know, it's just use your true shot on cooldown unless you're getting close to a boss or there's like a priority target that needs to die. I'm trying to think of a good example, maybe not in this dungeon, but in like Waycrest, for example. One of the he's the guy who gives the shield, like you want to priority kill him. Or the Matron, flying large ghosts in there as well, especially on weeks of I forget the one that gives the stacking buff whenever things die around it. I have forgotten that. I'm sure I'll remember it before the end of this video though. So I just want to make sure and get out of all that junk that they throw on the ground. And JB is saying, you know, we wanted to pull that stuff out here. And the group is a little bit inexperienced in here, and myself included. I was in there when I probably shouldn't have been anyway. But I also didn't know if they were going to be pulling it back either. So I'm just saving those cooldowns because we have a big pull coming up here relatively soon. So I go ahead and get this stuff down. We're about halfway through the dungeon for trash wise. Obviously not percent for enemy forces, but there's just so much smashed into the very end of this dungeon. It's really backloaded. So I want to make sure and get my misdirect down the boss, or on the tank here, and then start using my big attacks here, get my true shot down. I did remember it because I was saving it for this. And then just go to town. As you could look at that, one attack, and we're immediately top DPS. One sprayed attack, which was really nice. I'm really looking forward to bringing this back to raid because I have been practicing it over the last 2 weeks, and actually it's been more than like 3 since we've raided, and I'm ready to go full steam ahead and be ready for battle for what is it, Drazalor? BOD. There we go. I can never say it right. No, I always add extra letters for some unknown reason. But we just want to make sure and stand in this rune here. That way we don't take unnecessary damage from the carved flesh, because you take 90% less damage whenever you're in there. So we can kill the spawns of Cahoon, have that pulled back. That way it doesn't go to any of that trash over there, and then we can just sneak around just like so. So damage-wise, we're doing pretty well, guys. And if you have got to this point in the video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, definitely consider it. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Not necessarily to be monetized, that is a perk to it, but my next goal is 1,000 subscribers, and I would really like the help to get there. And I always try to provide really good marksman, hunter, strategies and just play style videos. I know that not everybody likes the way I play, but I do get good results, and I know a lot of people have asked for help, and I am always willing to help you guys out if you have questions. So my Battle.net battle tag will be in the description of this video, and almost, I believe, every one of my hunter videos. So definitely check that out, and please add me if you have questions, or you can leave them in the comments of this video. So we're starting to do a little bit of chain pulls here. I think we're realizing that we're not going to make the timer, though, unfortunately. So we're going to kill the spiritualist, then we're going to pull the elemental there, which here it comes. And the one nice thing that JB is probably the strongest character in our group. strongest player to where just stand in the green and we'll be fine, because this is kind of an annoying pull. It does a lot of AoE damage, but him being on a druid definitely helps in that aspect. And I always will pop my defensives there just to help out. So I did use my my defensive that I get. So we'll go ahead and continue to just melt down this elemental, and then we'll move towards the next area of the dungeon, which we have a lot of packs really close together, unfortunately. And then you'll see here I get rid of my pet because we don't need that now. I will get the pet out again just before the boss, but right now it's really not needed. So I give him the misdirect, and we'll start pulling all these apprentices here. So we want to make sure and not get washed away towards more packs. That's never a good idea. And it never ends well, normally. So here I just, I would have used True Shot had I have had it up, but unfortunately I didn't. It is up now though. I don't remember if I use it or not. We'll have to see. I might save it for the next pack too, because we're just getting these attendants down here. I believe we're going to start pulling the next set soon. We just have to make sure and watch JB's healing. But the one nice thing is that he does do a lot of kitty DPS in the meantime on in between pulls. Always making sure to help out with that. And like the group was actually talking about how it was so nice to just have like another 2k damage, damage a second from just the healer. Like just because there's not a ton to do, so he's gonna pop in and go kitty. So just make sure you don't want to get hit by like the whirling slams, that sort of thing. From the apprentices, you want to kill the spawns here. Unfortunately, I think the spawn does get in. Oh nope, we got him on this one. There's another one later on that unfortunately it does get by us. So I just got a little bit left here, and that way we can just start DPSing it down while they're running ahead to pull more. And unfortunately, since this was teaming, there's a lot more to pull, unfortunately, which does tend to slow us down, which is pretty much the reason we didn't get this. I think had it have not been teaming, and let's say maybe an easier affix that just didn't cause quite so much more time invested in doing them, would have been probably a little bit easier. Although, then you run into things like necrotic, that sort of things, which would be really annoying. And this is the one that does get infested. But we'll go ahead and push through here. I know we only have just a little bit left here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the video. We'll just get right up to the boss that way, because I know this video is going to be really long, and I don't want to shoot for incredibly long videos. Alright, so we finally made it back up here to this boss. It's probably the most annoying boss in here, especially on weeks that they are tyrannical, which ding 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 is this week. So I do have my pet out, that way I can bloodlust. We will do that on cooldown, and we want to focus down Gale Caller Faye first. And JB has already called out that I will be getting the interrupt first. You want to make sure and interrupt her as much as possible so she doesn't get that stacking, slicing wind debuff on everybody where they just take more damage. That's never a good idea. So we got our bloodlust down, start True Shot, so I'll get as much damage on her as possible without having to move. And I actually have aggro on her. Obviously it doesn't really matter, but we want to make sure and get as much damage on her as possible. And you also want to stand in the little patches that she drops, just because they give you haste, which they also give her haste too, so you want to be careful with that. And unfortunately, this is that boss with tornadoes, and I am just saying it now. I said it on that first boss. I struggled on that first boss. This boss, apparently I'm going to struggle again. I just cannot seem to catch a break today. Like there, I backed up into it for whatever reason, and I got hit again. But I didn't die, so I guess it wasn't terrible. Maybe it just shows that how much help I get from having a good healer in our group. So I guess maybe the title of this video should be Resto Druid Carries 4 Scrubs to Greatness or something like that. Yeah, I'm actually, I should have just cut this out and went in and re-recorded it and be like, oh look, I'm so good. So this does show too that, I mean, I feel like I'm at least a better than average hunter, or maybe I am just an average hunter. But you can still make mistakes and still succeed whenever you're doing Mythic Plus. Granted, I understand we don't time it and we don't get that bonus chest from that, but yet we still kill the boss. She's still dying. We are doing significantly less damage than we probably should be, especially with the Bloodlust. But she is dying, and then once she is dead, that is the hard part. Like, you just get her down, then it's pretty much free low at that point.
I wasted mine, sorry. I thought you guys didn't have it.
And got to take one more of those tornadoes just for old time's sake. Because, I mean, I am a huntard after all, right? Alright, so down goes Faye here, which leaves just Brother Ironhall. So these last few tornadoes will be going down momentarily once they get across the area here. I'm surprised I didn't run up and try to get hit by them. Maybe I should have. But this is one of those fights where it is kind of rough to be a marksman hunter. This is one of those fights where beast mastery would probably be superior, because you can do most of your stuff on the run, where the meat and potatoes of marksman hunter is through your aim shot. Now, true shot makes it much easier to get those out because it's only about a second and a tenth or something of a cast time. But normally, you have to pick and choose when you can use your aim shot. So maybe on a fight like this, I would try to change up the way I play, for example.
No, it's my fault.
But that would just be that would just come with practice, because I haven't done this dungeon in quite some time, so I was probably rusty myself. No excuses though of getting hit by all that junk. That's why I don't run with pugs, I guess, so I can be a terrible player and get by with it. So we just took down the Tide Sage Council, so I can get rid of the pet, because of course we don't need the pet on trash. So we will go left here. The one nice thing is that we have 3 Blood Elves. Actually, I think he's an orc, so I think the DK is an orc. So we have 3 Blood Elves. That way we can just get rid of the little skeletons there. That way they're not, I guess they're just sailors. They're not even skeletons. I'm thinking of the ones from Underrot. But you can just get rid of them. That way, pop up, get rid of all their shields, take them down real fast. That way we can just have just the Ritualist to worry about. That way the tank doesn't have anything beaten on him, because these Ritualists do hurt. Especially the Unending Darkness, so we want to make sure and of course not let those casts go off. And I am sitting there holding on to my interrupt in case we do need it. I think I might use it. Yeah, I do. I used it unnecessarily, but it was just about trying to get it down, so that's what matters. So the Tide Sage Enforcers also do a lot of damage. So I know I had said that they really backloaded this this dungeon with difficult mobs, and they do a lot of damage. Pulling 1 isn't bad, but pulling 2, like we're about to do, can be a little bit more tricky. But unfortunately, since there is just 2 mobs instead of 3, we can't cleave, so I continue to do single target on these guys. Just making sure and dodging all the deep smashes that they will continually put on the ground. And get an aim shot down here. Made sure I didn't get hit by the deep smash, and down they go. So we can sneak along here, so we can do the Ritualist. So we'll run in there and have some other Blood Elf make sure and drop all the little guys. I think I'm like telling them, just go up in Arcane Torrent, just go up in Arcane Torrent. There they go, they got it now. So we can just get rid of all the little sailors, and you don't need to worry about them now. So we want to make sure and we have the seeds on us, that way we don't overlap at all. That way we don't take extra damage for no reason. And then got the Ritualist left here, that way we'll take him down, then we'll just start working on the Enforcers to our right. And also, if you guys are wanting to know the build that I'm running, I do have that link in the description of this video. It's my 8.1 Unerring Visions build. I should have mentioned that in the beginning, so if you are still watching, kudos to you, I appreciate it. But I am running with my Unerring Visions, running with 3 of those, so that being said, whenever I pop True Shot, my last 5 seconds are 100% crit, and I figured out a way to cap it at 100, so there's no wasted crit if you're just looking at it from the True Shot window perspective. Because it's you need 15% if you are a Blood Elf, because you'll get the plus 1% to crit, meaning you'll start with 16. Everybody else would need 16.
If we can AoE everything down, I don't know.
It's the one nice thing about being a Blood Elf. You get that 1% crit, and you never know when that little bit can put you over the top and you know, allow you to do more stuff or put more stats into Mastery, which Mastery right now I feel like is where our meat and potatoes for damage wise is, just because versatility is just a poor man's version of Mastery for a marksmanship hunter. I believe like 1% of, or yeah, 1 point of Mastery, whole point I guess, is equal to like 3.5% or 3.3% of bonus damage, whereas 1% of versatility wouldn't be. So we'll make sure and get rid of all these spawns of Cahoon. Unfortunately, it looks like that Dweller did get infested there, but which is alright. We'll get the spawns down here and we'll head up this way to, hey look, even harder trash, because why not? So we'll head up here and we want to make sure and CC one of them. So I'll pop that one there. And we also want to make sure somebody is tanking the tentacles and still doing damage to everything. However, JB is going to say here in just, I think it's like a minute or so, that they have redone the visuals on some of these attacks. Like the one where the faceless one type cultist guys, they turn and cast something. Now you can clearly see where they're going to attack, and they give you like a unique looking attack you know, animation. So I'm glad that Blizzard is going through these dungeons and making things easier to see. I know they get a lot of flack for this expansion, and with all the changes with Activision and, you know, player base feeling that they're not listening to us, and I do agree that to some extent for sure. But I do like it when they go ahead and come back through here and you know, help players out on some of these harder dungeons that maybe are not necessarily overtuned, but just quality of life changes, which is always welcomed. So we're just taking down these here. We've got some good damage on the tentacles and the cultist, and we have the other cultist that I had CC'd. He'll be coming down the pipe here very soon as he just gets death gripped in. It's the one nice thing with running with a DK is that you can always get that death grip. You never realize how much you love death grip until you don't have it. That's something I've noticed. So I'm trying to position myself because there's group 1 that's walking away from us on the left side of this bridge, and then there's group 2 who will now be walking towards us. So obviously you do not want to pull these all together. The nice thing you can do as a marksman hunter, or as any hunter, drop a freezing trap on the first one and they all stop. So they'll all just stay there, so you don't have to worry about both of them pulling. And unfortunately I pulled aggro, but as you can see, that's the new cast. You can clearly see where they're going to cast that. So if you get hit, don't get hit. And I'm actually surprised the way I've been playing in this dungeon. I'm surprised I didn't get hit. I'm sure I'll get hit later on, I just didn't realize it. But you just want to make sure and keep that other group CC'd that way, because this little bit of area on the bridge is really annoying, just because they pat and they'll you know, basically run into each other in the middle of the bridge if you don't CC them in the correct way. What we should have done probably, although normally you would try to get past these, so you notice we didn't do any rogue skips. We probably should have done a rogue skip at some point to save us time. Unfortunately, we didn't due to the fact we didn't know what to do because it was not skittish, but teaming. Oh, there we go. I took some damage for no reason. There we go. That's a calling card on my channel. So I make sure and not get hit by that. Head up here so I can stay in the green. As JB says, Greeley, please stand in the green. Thank you. And you can see there we did some really good damage on that stuff. You can always tell when a marksman hunter has his true shot when he's used it, because that damage will go up tenfold significantly. So we'll take out all these dwellers, which these dwellers are really annoying. And they about kill us, I think. I think they might kill a couple of them. Yep, they do. So I want to make sure and not die here, so I go ahead and turtle just to stay alive. Because I noticed they got a bunch of them targeting me there.
I do as well.
So you can get that stuff down, then get one aim shot off, and it pretty much takes out the rest of them.
Awesome. Maple syrup on bacon. Maple syrup on...
So we are getting ready for the next boss, which is the third boss of Shrine of the Storm. Which this area is probably going to be a precursor to Crucibles of the Storm, which is the mini raid that's going to be in between battle and whatever raid is going to be in 8.2, which is going to feature in some extent Ashara. So unfortunately we're going to cut the footage again here in just a second, because we had some people who maybe didn't know the fight, and unfortunately we did wipe. So you can see 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have killed the key. But we are on the third boss. We are not too far away. Honestly, I think we miss it by like 13 minutes, though. It's pretty pathetic. But we want to make sure on some of these bosses, try to pre-pot first. So I pre-potted there. And we are just going to start getting some good damage on Storm Song here. Unfortunately, we do not have Bloodlust because we used it on the first pull. We had the guy who got mind controlled. He didn't necessarily know what he was supposed to do, which does stink. But you'll notice too, we had some problems with this boss by mechanics weren't working as intended. So obviously in this fight you want to continue to kite things, which I've never had a problem with kiting these on my hunter. In fact, it's really easy, and it was really nice that JB decided to get me out. And we notice too, so look, I am still being tethered by something, but that ball is in the ground, because it doesn't actually come at you, but it is very deceiving that you have like multiple things coming after you. And in fact, you'll notice I keep moving because I don't know if it's a visual bug or if it's actually still there. Like it could very well still be following me, and I just don't know. So I always take extra precautions, and I will try to make sure and not run my orb into somebody else, for example. Luckily for me, I did not get the mind control at all, and so that allowed me to continue to DPS the boss the entire time, which my damage indicates that I didn't get mind control, because kept some really good damage on the boss basically the whole time here. So go ahead and continue to not die and do our best dancing as possible.
Yeah, there's a bunch of balls attached.
Yeah, and they're actually just figuring it out, people in the group as well, that there are balls that are not physically there that they say are still chasing you. So I don't know if you guys have had this issue, if you've been in here in 8.1, definitely leave me a comment below that we're not just crazy. But I'll start maneuvering my stuff. I tried to make sure and not run it into them. They did a really good job of kind of fixing my one mistake that I did, was I was going to start bringing the ball through the group, which is never a good idea.
Oh my god.
And since this key does have the tyrannical, could not think of the word, it has an extreme amount of health, so burning through 5 million health with some people doing less than 10 is a little bit difficult, I won't lie. But I think I was doing like 13 or 14, and we were able to take it out on the second try. Thank you, pet. I appreciate it. I had the pet out so I could do more damage. Or I should say, do more healing, because it gives you 10% leech, so you 10% of the damage that you do, you gain back as health. Which, if I'm doing, let's say 14k, 1.4k is what I would be healing every second. That doesn't sound like amazing, Again, that's not a large heal, but if you think about it over time, that's decent, especially for a class that, other than my exhilaration, doesn't have a heal at all. So we'll just make our way through here, this little area of the underwater, get to the sanctuary here at the end of the Shrine of Storms. So we're going to pull all the eels. Unfortunately, because enemy force-wise, we are really behind. We probably should have pulled a couple of different packs, but we didn't, which is fine. We'll take down the eels. We'll do massive amounts of damage, because got to make yourself feel a little bit better after all that damage we were taking unnecessarily. And I have a lot of aggro. Probably should have feigned death there, but oh well. I figured I'd pull aggro again because my true shot is off cooldown, so I might use it again. I'm not sure. But we're up to 91% for our enemy forces. Like I said, we are over time. So if you guys are coming here expecting us to time it, unfortunately that didn't happen. I was actually going to mark the exact same thing that JB did there. But on this we want to make sure, and there's my my true shot, so I want to just cleave off of one of the denizens and just continue to do our regular rotation that I will do for my opener in raid. I do it on my videos, whether it be my 8.1 video or any of my other Mythic Plus videos, and I will continue to do that once we get to the new raid. And if I ever see any changes on rotation, build, that sort of thing, I will leave that in the comments. I will pin that. If you check out my guides, I appreciate it. And just letting you know that they are what I call living, breathing things, where I got hit by a volcano there. Sad panda. But I will, if I'm wrong on something, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm wrong. Maybe you guys will tell me, and I will, give credit to where credit's due, and we will change it and make sure that we are not leading anybody astray, and we're constantly upgrading those. So those will always be in I will pin that in a comment on my videos. I actually think I have a few pinned comments on there now, so if you haven't seen my video in quite some time, you might check it out. So the one nice thing is True Shot is off cooldown, which I will now have it for the boss. That's something I wanted to do. And we are off on our percents by just 2% now, so there is one last pack of eels here. We cut it really close percent-wise, but you know what? I think we're just going to go ahead and pull all of those, because why not? So I think we were trying to just do one, and yeah, all of them are coming. So we'll just go ahead and cleave off of that one. I did go ahead and use True Shot just because we're not making time, so it's not the end of the world. But it did make the DPS look pretty nice there. I think I burst it up to like 90k or something, something crazy like that.
Shit. I was at 23. Greeley
52. There we go.
I had him at 51.
Someone goes, I had him at 51. Like, I had me at 90, 95, 150k, whatever. Go back to beginning Legion numbers. So this is the last boss of the dungeon. It does take a little bit of time just because of how the boss works.
Lust on out.
So we will lust once we get out of the kind of intermission phase. Because if you've not done this boss, he will cast an ability that sends you into this like dream world type thing, and then you have to kill, it's the Grasp of the Sunken City, and then you have to kill 2 ads, and then if they get their cast bar to full, they heal to full, which is not good, not ideal. So this one's already interrupted, so you pretty much just want to focus one at a time, unless you have some really baller DPS.
Anyone have an interrupt on this?
So I've got my interrupt on this guy. You just want to save it to the last second. That way, you don't waste any time at all. Because if you use it right away, he's just going to immediately start casting it again. So we've got one down. We've got the second over here. Unfortunately, it does heal. And whenever it heals, it does steal some life from you. So it does consume your essence. So I use my double tap here to make sure we can get this denizen down. I believe we're going to come out of this in in crap on the ground. I guess it's not this one. It will be the next one though. So this is where we're going to Bloodlust. I'll use my pre-pot, or I guess it's just pot now. I don't know nothing pre about it. And try to get as much damage into the boss before he does that again. And then it's just rinse and repeat. We have a lot of the manifestations of the deep that we have to worry about, so we'll try to kill as many of those as possible. And unfortunately, I have aggro on the boss. That is something that you hear a lot from this type of build from a marksman hunter, because we tend to pull aggro. Well, it's just basically because of our burst damage is so high that we will pull a lot of the times. So even if you're in the middle of a fight, you might have to use your misdirect. I normally had a mouse over misdirect for the tank. I do not have that now. I don't remember which add-on it was that gave it to me, honestly. But we are getting ready, as you can see by the timer here. Grasp of the Sunken City is coming again. But I timed it just enough to be able to get an aim shot off on the boss. So then we'll split into our groups here again and take down the denizens. And the one nice thing is that True Shot is now off of cooldown. That's the one nice thing about running with the Call the Shots build with Unerring Visions, is that you can get a lot of true shots off. And I think that's going to be the big thing, is getting as many true shots as possible in a boss fight. That's going to, assuming you can like start the boss with one, obviously, and then if you can end just as one is ending, you will do a lot more damage than, let's say, you have like a minute before the end of the boss and then you've used it, that type of thing. But don't definitely discourage yourself from not using it. The only time I wouldn't is if you know there's a priority target that needs to die, that's coming out, that sort of thing. I think I've said that. But
Run out of space here.
so we'll continue to do some damage here. I know this video is a little bit longer, so if you guys are to this point, and I know that we do have another one of those little in-between phases, unfortunately, I do appreciate you guys hanging out and watching. I have a lot of fun doing these. This has probably been the longest one I've done, and that's why I actually cut it up a bunch. And unfortunately, JB is dead over there. He's taking a dirt nap. But I really like these, and I can't wait to do these in Season 2, because the new affix, the Bwansamdi-esque affix for Season 2 does look interesting. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for new gear, higher item levels, the new raid, that sort of thing. And I know, like, my neck wise, I am level 39 on, or Azurite level 39 on my neck. So I made sure and continue to try to level up the neck as much as possible. That way I can basically get all my traits as soon as I get into raid. That is pretty much my goal. Actually, I think it's on one of the, at least horde-wise, because Alliance now gets the 30% for war mode instead of 10%. But I think I'm one of the higher ones on my server. I think because a lot of people just aren't farming it anymore, and I don't necessarily farm it. I have just been just doing my 4 world quests a day, getting that cash, doing my Mythic Plus, nothing major. So the one nice thing about this, I am far away from those guys, but since I have really high mastery, I don't have to worry about that. So just killed the boss. Took us 51 minutes, unfortunately, to get through here. So it looks like I did cut like 5 or 6 minutes of just nonsense. So there we go. Got the Gale Caller's boon, level 370. Really cool that we got that from a +10. So I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. Check out some of my other content on my page, whether it would be my live streams or any other game. And until my next live stream or video, I'll see you guys later.